Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for my Sephora recommendations. If you'd like to see that, please keep watching. Okay, so I thought I was going to have a very short list, and then I thought, let's do a whole face with Sephora recommendations. And so I actually have all of them on my face, and tomorrow I will post a video with a demo of all of these things in action. So if you're wondering how they look on, this is how they look on, but I'll show you step by step as well. The foundation was a little tricky because some of my favorites are not carried by Sephora, but I remember there is one really nice one. The La Mer, the Soft Fluid Long Wear Foundation. And I demoed this, I tested it side by side with another foundation. It performs really well. The only thing is it does have a bit of a fragrance, but at this point, I can't sense it anymore. But I did remember when I applied it that it had that scent. But it's Buff 23A is the shade that I have. Then let's go ahead to concealer. Now I did that rundown of concealers, like the new releases. So I was trying to figure out which one went well with that foundation. So I pulled for these two. I've got the Pat McGrath and I have the Hourglass. I like both of these. This one's a little bit more substantial in its coverage versus Hourglass is a little bit more light, but sometimes it just depends on the hue as well because there's a lot of warmth here, as you can see, versus Apricot. So the Pat McGrath is in LM12 and the Hourglass is in Apricot, so I used both of these. So again, depending on your shade match and the level of coverage that you want. They're both very nice though. I used them on my face as well as under the eye today, and I did use one more as kind of like a brightener, kind of like I used the La Prairie just right here. I went in with the Giorgio Armani, the Luminous Silk Concealer in 525. This is the lightest of the three in terms of coverage. Very lightweight, very no makeup kind of concealer. And I did want to mention this, not that I use this all the time, but I just know that so many people with drier skin really like this because it's such a creamy formula. So I did want to mention that in case you were interested. It is in the shade 3WP is the one that I have. So just some good concealers, really nice ones that you can find at Sephora in case you were looking at them. Also, this has been kind of a game changer for me because I've been playing with eyeshadow above the crease a little bit more. This is the Veil Eye Primer by Hourglass. Really, really nice. So if you are looking for one, I would recommend this one. Then in terms of powders, again, this is where I have so many favorite powders that are not carried by Sephora, but actually I do have one favorite that's carried by them, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Flawless Finish powders. Very good. I've recommended this to a few of you actually, and I've got shade 2 and shade 1. So shade 1, I'm almost a little too tan for this one, but it still works. I applied that today as well as this. So this one can actually tend to be a little bit add too much color for me. It will change the shade of my foundation. So actually, of course, somewhere between 1 and 2 would be best. 1 is really nice for the under eye area on me though. It does look like it would be kind of dull, but it's not. It's a little bit more pinky. This one's definitely more warm though. Those both add just the slightest amount of color to my face. And then we've got this finishing powder. I haven't used it in a long time, but I used it on the exterior today kind of to blend in my bronzer. And it's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powder in Radiant Light. So I love this one, especially when I'm tan, but I did go in with this as well as Dim Light. So those are the two I would recommend. Dim Light's really great for the center of my face. Radiant Light's really great for the exterior, or if I'm more tan, then this works really well. It just does a great job of blurring and perfecting the appearance of my skin. And then I used this bronzer, which I've been using quite a bit, where is it? So I'm going to talk about the Guerlain bronzer. It's actually contour, here it is. It's this Guerlain, it's the terracotta matte, it's the sculpting powder is what it's called. It's a matte finish, and I love this for a bronzer. That's what I have on now. It's like a no-fail color for me. I've tried so many new bronzers recently, and this isn't even, it's not even called a bronzer. It says sculpting powder. I use it like a bronzer. It's fine. But this one's created for more oily skin because it has that kaolin clay to absorb. Although I'm not oily on the exterior and it works just fine. I just really liked the shade is why I picked it. So yeah, I really love this one. And you know, if you've been here, I picked up so many bronzers and this is one of my go-tos above some of the other ones. So this one is beautiful. Probably in my top like 3 to 5 bronzers. Really nice. And then for brows, we've got the Dior Show pencil, right? Dior Show, is this Dior Show? Yeah. The Brow Styler pencil in 002, and I have the brow gel, the Pump and Brow in 002 as well. Of course, I used one other product that is not carried at Sephora, but these are the other 2 products I did put on. So I'll show you in the full face when I post that tomorrow, how that sequence goes. I just pulled this because I used this in my look today. It's the 6-pan Hourglass Holiday. Not any of the shades, but I did go in with dim light and diffused light right here in the middle of the face. You can see my review on this if you're considering it. I think it's really suited for cool skin tones, these colors here, but I do like dim light, so I want to use as much as I can of this, so I do use those. And then another Hourglass product, 4-pan. This one is the one I prefer if you have warm skin. I think this is suited really well for warm skin. I used this finishing powder in here, which is Soft Light. I love it because it's got that peachier tone in it, and I also used the highlighter today as well. So this one, between the 2, I would recommend the 4-pan if you're my coloring or similar to my coloring. It's really beautiful. And then let's talk about eyes. Okay, so I have these Dior Quints. So I've got New Look right here. I've got Mitza, and I have Jungle. And I haven't had a chance to play with denim yet, so I don't really have an opinion on that one yet, except that I love the colors. So Jungle is this one here. I've done looks with all 3 of these as well in case you wanted to see those. So these are the 3. And then, oh, someone asked if I could rank them. I think I'm going to pick up at least, I think, a couple more maybe in the sale. But out of the ones I've tried so far, I really just love the colors in Mitza, but I feel like this one's really unusual too. So New Look and Mitza would be my picks. And then Jungle's pretty as well. It's a little bit like edgier, I think, because of that green, but it really depends on how you use it. I kind of would like to try it without that this green in there and see what happens. So that might be interesting right there. But I did try to put all of the shades on. I like them all. I haven't read actually any real reviews on them yet. But I feel like they worked really well for me. I like all of them. I did integrate this because I feel like what's missing there is a neutral matte shade in all of them, but you can always pull from something else. So I pulled from this one, and it's a really nice one. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury, the Sophisticate, because they're a little bit harder to find, and I feel like with so many shimmers, that's something that I'm always like, where's a matte palette? I need a matte for this. So I think this is a really beautiful one, Charlotte Tilbury. I would recommend that one. Okay, and then let's talk about some mascara. I love this push-up lashes, but the only thing is that it looks good for a shorter amount of time than I would like, but the result is beautiful. I have it on now. It pushes up my lashes really well without having to curl it. I forgot though, I did curl today because I forgot I was using this, but this will push up my lashes. It will build volume and length really quickly. Only thing is though, it will tend to smudge after a couple hours. So if you are just on like a virtual call for an hour or 2, I think it's a great one to use. But if you're planning on wearing all day, I wouldn't recommend this. But for something like a video, it's perfect. It's just such a quick, easy application with a beautiful result. The only thing is I wish that it wouldn't smudge after a couple hours. Then it'd be like a perfect mascara or close to a perfect mascara. The curler I would recommend is the Surratt. I've had the Shiseido one, but it was like, it didn't fit the contour of my eye, and there's a little bit more curve to my eye like this. This one can reach all of those lashes from the inside to the outside. So sometimes those are missed because of the curvature, but this one is really great. So I love the Surratt curler. Speaking of Surratt, I love their brown eyeliner. So I've got that. It's super dark brown, but it's beautiful. And the calligraphy end on it is really nice. Now, another liquid liner that I've recommended before is the Tom Ford, and it's in black. And if they had this in other colors, I probably would just have this one because I love the calligraphy end on it, the longer one. I don't really use the shorter side, but the longer one. And it's, I mean, you get the most tapered end on it. It's so pretty. So even though the Surratt is very good, I don't think you get the same kind of tapered end you can with the Tom Ford. But because Surratt has various colors, but I think they only have brown on Sephora's site, That's why I go with Surratt next, because of the colors. Yeah, I wish Tom Ford made other colors in that liner. I probably own them all. I don't have many eyeliners outside of Chanel, but these are very good. The Pat McGrath, I've got Black Coffee and Extreme Black. They glide on so easily. There's no tugging, anything, and especially if you're tight lining, really comfortable. I'm just going to watch to see if there's transfer, because I haven't really worn it, because I use the Chanel one so much. So I haven't really worn it that way. Just check the notes below and I'll give you an update on the transfer, if there is any transfer or not. And then I also had kind of a tricky time with the waterline, because I always like something shimmery, like a subtle shimmer. So I did pull for this Laura Mercier Copper, although you'll see in the video how I kind of tempered it and made it not so shimmery. But this is the most beautiful shade in the eyeshadow sticks. Oh, I always get the name wrong. Caviar Stick Eye Colors. Copper is the standout shade in all of the shades they offer. So I really like this one a lot. It's my favorite one. So I would recommend that if you were looking at one of them. Oh yes, and then for blush, I think you already know what I'm going to pick. Tom Ford Inhibition. I have it on now. It's just so, every time I put it on, I just can't believe how easy it is to apply and how beautiful it looks every single time. If you've not tried it, everyone's correct. It is amazing, and everyone tells me this is the prettiest shade. So I might look at another shade, but I feel like I'll be disappointed because this one is just so pretty. This is coming really handy, the Patrick Ta fan for drying, because I use this. Oh, here's another recommendation. This Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray by Charlotte Tilbury. I count on it if I'm wearing a face covering. It really does help keep everything in place. Not perfectly, but it's much better than not wearing this at all, because then makeup really is all over. And I use this to dry. It just expedites the whole process. And then I feel like sometimes I spray too much on it and I don't want it to drip and like have my makeup run. So drying it quickly prevents that from happening, because I can tend to overuse that and then it's like, it's too much. So this comes in very handy. Of course, I'm going to recommend this Shiseido brush. It applies foundation so beautifully. You can use it as a polishing brush if you want. And I used it today and you can't even really tell. I mean, there's a little bit of foundation showing. And I had a question about the red. Does the red dye run when you wash it? So I did a little experiment. I washed it and then I laid it on a little, like the mat that goes with the Beauty Blender soap. And I put a little tissue in between to see if it would bleed any of that color. So it dried like this pretty much, but on the mat. And when I took it off this morning, I saw two little, it was strange. There's like two little red or like peachish dots. Very faint. Okay, maybe I'll do a close-up so you can see. But it's very faint, and I think it looks interesting that there's just two specific spots. And I don't think it's foundation, but it did not stain the whole tissue. So if there is anything like a dye running off, it's not anything substantial. So I hope that helps you in case you were wondering about that. On to lips, I almost forgot this part. I just have a few things. So we've got the Patrick Ta lip liner. I really like this one because it's hard to find like a peachier toned lip liner that isn't too light. So I really like this one. It just is like a little bit lighter version of my lips, and it's great for the exterior. Any lipsticks, Tom Ford does some of the most beautiful lip colors, and I love this classic one. If you don't already have it, I waited so long to get it myself. In Indian Rose, I think it's just such a pretty color on so many people. It does tend to pull a little bit cool on me, but it just comes across as like a really pretty, like cool pink color. And then I wanted to warm that up a little bit, so I did go in with the Tom Ford lip gloss. I love these lip glosses too. So I have this shade Ravish, but also I have another one. I can't remember the name of it. It's like a light pink. I was going to say Inhibition, but that's not it. It's called Impulse, I think. Yeah. So I will list that below, but I'm pretty sure it's Impulse. But this one, really pretty, but that's what I have on my lips. I'm never disappointed in Tom Ford lipsticks or lip glosses. Oh yes, and something else I wanted to mention. I picked this up, I think a couple years ago, or maybe even longer, from the sale, but it's the Dyson hair dryer, and I hadn't been using it as much until recently, until I got my hair cut again. But what I noticed is it comes out so much silkier, and I really just do a rough dry in the back, and then I take my like a round brush, and I do the front, And that's it. And I feel like my hair just looks so much better because before that, I wasn't really using the hair dryer. I was just letting my hair air dry and then brushing it through. And then of course it looks more coarse and like not as nice. But I think that this has made a difference in the appearance of the shininess of my hair. So that's why I really like it. Next thing, which is my list. So I have a list somewhere. I have my cart full already. So I wanted to talk about what I'm considering. And I say considering because already the total right now is too much. So I'm going to have to take some things out of my cart. So I do have this Grand Cosmetics Grand Brow Enhancing Serum because I feel like it's worked really well on my eyebrows. So I'm happy with the results. So I want to pick that up. I've tried, gone through 2 of these so far. Those were trials too, like little samples. So I'm going to order that. I'm looking at, so I was talking about the Dyson, right? So I also asked my hairstylist about the Dyson Airwrap. I said, I'm considering it. Do you think it's worth it? And he said his wife has it and that it works really well. And I'm looking at it right here. So this would be the only time I would consider purchasing it because of the discount. So that is in my cart right now. I don't know. If you have it, let me know. Is it worth it? I've just seen people using it and their hair looks so nice. Although I feel like I may have said this before, but now I really feel like I finally found the length and style that my hair wants to be because I feel like I've been fighting it for so long. Yeah, I just feel like if it's any longer than this, it just weighs down my hair. So yeah, it seems to be happy like this and I can make it work. So I don't know if investing in the Airwrap at this point will help or not because I don't know if it will create volume because that's what I'm looking for is like bouncy waves. So if you have hair like me where it's like heavy hair, it's straight, it's coarse, let me know if you get that bounciness to it because if I don't get that, then I won't be happy with it. So let me know before I invest. I'm also picking up the Lancome Tonique Comfort, which is something I purchase over and over. I'll also be picking up the Peter Thomas Roth Anti-Aging Cleansing Gel. That is a go-to. And then I'm looking at, of course, like I said, the Dior Quince, a couple more of the Dior palettes. So let me know which ones I should pick up because like I said, I have Jungle, I have New Look, I've got Mitza, and I have Denim. So let me know about those. And then I'm picking up the Dior Pump and Brow as well as the Dior Show, the pencil. So both the pencil and the gel. I'd really love your opinion on the Dyson Hair Wrap, if I should get it or just save my money. But I've been looking at that ever since it came out. And anytime there's a promotion where I can save, I'm always looking at it. But I'm just afraid if I get it and I don't like it, then I'll be really disappointed. So let me know. Because I just have doubts that it will work on this hair. I mean, this hair wants to just do this. And it doesn't like to do much of anything else unless I really put a lot of hairspray in it and heat on it. So it will work. I mean, like the other thing that I have, the Beach Waver, that does a good job. It doesn't want to stay in that curl though. Like this is what it's happy doing, which is fine. I think there's a lot of movement. And I think that's what I worry about with the Airwrap is even if I do get a bouncy curl, having to put so much product in it so it doesn't move. That's what I don't want to happen. So I don't know. Let me know. But again, I'd love to know what you have your eye on because maybe I'm missing something. I usually do miss out on something and then I think, ooh, I should have picked that up. But that is it for today's video. So please take care of each other. Stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks.